Patrick D'Arvisenet, he's the chief economist from BNP Paribas with me. This is really quite an issue, isn't it? The whole issue of France's competitivity, because it's actually having an effect on France's economy at the moment.
Yeah, of course, for years we didn't have a trade as a support for growth. Growth was only coming from domestic demand to begin with. The second thing, when you look at the timetable, if you will, going back 10 years ago, in the early 2000s, we were in the same situation as Germany, both had a slight surplus. Now Germany has a big surplus, and we have a deficit that has been widening over the years.
But Philippe, is there anything being done either by either of the candidates to actually address this issue?
There are two kinds of issues. One is structural, containing measures like improving the expenditure on research and development, making the development of small or medium firms that are exporting easier. This sort of thing, it takes time. You have to do it. Both candidates, I think, are in favor of that, but that takes time.
But there are
when you
things
compare with Germany, I would say that one of the differences, and it's very hard to deny it, is that the increase in unit labor cost that comes from the difference in wage evolution in both sides of the Rhine, if you will, have been present. So we have a cost of labor, which is not the wage itself maybe, but also the non-labor costs that are waiting.
But these non-labor costs, so this unit labor cost, so in France, is higher than it is in Germany.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Sarkozy has indeed tried to actually deal with that with what's called the social VAT, where you try and reduce the social costs on payrolls and you increase the VAT at the same time. But Mr. Hollande wants to roll that back. Is that a good idea?
We have been talking about that for decades. It is obvious that it is better to have a wide basis for taxation, contribution, whatever, rather than taxing the labor force. If you tax the labor force, you have a disincentive to hire people.
Well, so tell me, are you concerned that the sorts of policies being espoused at the moment by Mr. Hollande, of course he's the favourite to win the election, are not the sorts of policies which are going to be able to increase growth in France in the short term?
Well, in the short term, it is very difficult to increase growth anyhow, for a very simple reason. That is, we are surrounded by countries that are in a recession because of a so-called sovereign debt crisis. So even Germany now is experiencing leading indicators that are in negative territory. So my hope is we will go out of that, but it's very difficult in a very short term, whoever is elected, I would say.
So it does seem regardless of who's elected, given what you've just described, there's very little room for manoeuvre for either of these politicians. So in a way, do you expect that the markets are going to keep them on the straight and narrow, if you like? You're not particularly perturbed at the moment about the outlook?
I mean, we have seen the bond issuance yesterday. It went very well. I think the market is pricing the fact that the market themselves are keeping them in line.